Well, it's the morning and I just walked out to take a look at this, and as you can see, it's just been chugging along here all night. Uh, I'll probably pull it out later on and give it a little bit of a scrub down and see how it's done. Uh, you see, as I said, you don't have to have everything, all your connections and stuff does not need to be hospital clean in order for this to work. Don't overcomplicate things, you know, don't do work that you don't need to do. Uh, it's kind of like never file when you can saw, and if you're gonna file, use a big file. Make things simple. Well, it's later in the day now, and I haven't pulled this out yet. I came out here this morning and looked at it for a bit. And, I did add an extra anode here on the back side, so I got one here and I got one here, and actually added some more stuff in here to the dip. You got the carriage and the cross slider in there, and a few other odds and ends, a couple gear guards. So that's that. And you see how much more scum, by the way, is floated to the top. So yeah, pretty soon here I'm gonna go ahead and skim that shit off, and I'll pull this bed out and give it a look and see how it's doing. And I'll go ahead and if I determine it's clean enough, I'll go ahead and I'll scrub the other end down good with the wire brush, hose it down, get it all good and dried off. Then I'll flip it over, and back in the dip it goes to do the other end. Also, here's where the warboard tag was. So that there's the original color. I think that's an OD green, but believe it or not, I'm red-green colorblind, so sometimes I have a hard time with colors. But I do know that some of these were actually painted. Some of these lathes were painted OD green. So I am tempted to maybe go that route. We'll see. Here we got more of our oh so classy gold spray paint. The waves seem to be cleaning up nicely. The old frosting here under the headstock end, which is nice. Okay, so the lathe has been flipped over now and put back in the dip. I just left the other parts alone for now. So I probably should have flipped the lead screw over. I'll yank it out soon and I'll flip the lead screw over. But anyways, so yeah, I'm just gonna continue to let it chug along, and I'll probably just let it set and forget about it for a few days, and while I'm letting this do its thing, I'll go about finding some paint, and that way when this comes out we can lay some paint on the bed and the feet and get all that reassembled so that we can have something to start building up on. And then, from there, I'm just gonna probably take this more, piecemeal. So, The next thing would be to do the headstock. The tailstock is actually already pretty much ready for paint. I need to pull this, the locking lever, and pull the hand wheel, and do some polishing there. And I believe that collar and screws in is supposed to be polished, so I'll polish that as well. If anybody knows, by the way, why this top of the tailstock has been milled flat, please let me know, because I've noticed that, you know, a few of them have it and a few of them don't. Well, being the anxious type that I am, I thought while other parts were sitting over there in the dip, I would get to work on some of the small parts here. So, as you can see, actually these go for the lead screw, but got our apron parts all cleaned up. All that stuff. That's all the clutch parts have been done. Some of our side gears. A little more work on the tailstock. Took it apart again. Got our compound done. Things are nice and shiny there. We can't forget the details. These are actually the bed feet screws here. Not even going to be seen, but you know, it's good practice. And it is my intention that every nut and bolt in this machine will be clean and shiny and to just the way it's supposed to be. So yeah. You know, some stuff needs a little more. It's gonna have a higher polish on it, you know. That's probably gonna be polished out a little bit better, a little higher. But anyhow, that's where we're at now. Still haven't torn the gearbox apart yet. That's coming soon. Still haven't torn the headstock apart yet. It's also coming soon. Still got the counter shaft sitting over there. Well, we'll take it one little bit at a time. I was trying to get this, knock this pin out real quick. Looking on this gear guard. And of course, leave it to south bend. I just thought this was interesting. Leave it to south bend to put a Babbitt bearing in their gear guard. Oh boy. Yep. These guys didn't forget any details, did they? Anyhow, I just thought that was interesting as I'm going through and getting parts cleaned up. Alright. I thought I'd take a moment to talk about this electrolysis process a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because, you know, if you go on YouTube, electrolysis has been done to death. But if you're watching these, I just wanted to take a few seconds to talk about what I like to do. First and foremost, straight baking soda. Some people, you know, swear up and down you need washing soda. Washing soda, washing soda, washing soda. Well, baking soda works just fine. I've never had an issue with it. I've never even tried to use the washing soda. Simple. As I was saying earlier, keep things simple. Follow the rule of KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, stick with steel or iron for your sacrificial anodes. You don't want to use aluminum or brass or stainless steel. That'll create a toxic mix. Back here, the cast iron, the anode is actually cast iron. It's an old Stanley level that was broken. And over here we have a piece of bed frame angle iron. You know, bed frames make a good source for this. Stick with steel. I know some guys out there use graphite and stuff. It's just, stick with steel. Stick with iron. And that's about it. It's a simple process. Baking soda, steel or iron for your sacrificial pieces, and then keep your charger at a low amperage. I like the 2 amp. This is not something that you want to rush, and you'll get excellent results doing that. When you go to try to overcomplicate things, either you're just doing work that you don't need to do, or well, I lost my train of thought there. But anyhow, just don't do work that you don't need to do. Also, you might hear me refer to this as the dip. And if you look at it, and if you've ever seen the Roger Rabbit, you'll understand why I refer to this as the dip. So it also rolls off the tongue a lot nicer than electrolysis does. So if you hear me in the future referring to the dip, more than likely that's what I'm referring to. I also have a little coffee can full of gasoline that I'll occasionally call the dip, and I use that often to degrease smaller parts. But yeah, anyhow, see you in the next bit. Well, I just got to pulling the spindle, and I must say I am very, very pleased. So I pulled this out of here to see that this is just absolutely pristine. It's in remarkably good condition. I used earlier I was saying Halligan 142. I thought about it. I was like, that's halogen. But in the context of a name, the pronunciation changes. But anyways, so it's Halligan or Halogen 142. But anyhow, I utilized his method. Just a couple of wood blocks. And there we go. I used his method, so just with a couple of wood blocks and a piece of all thread and a piece of pipe and a couple of nuts and washers. It worked beautifully, and it was dead simple. So if you ever do have to pull the spindle on your South Bend or a similarly built machine, yeah, would definitely recommend that. Of course, I dropped my 3/4 inch wrench there in the dip while I was pulling the spindle out. I looked at it and I said, hell, I ain't reaching my hand down in there right now to grab that son of a bitch out. So I ended up using the dog bone here to finish it up. If you don't have one of these, get one of these. These are pretty nice. It comes in handy. It really does, and it's it goes all the way through too. So when I was on here, the all thread had a place to pass. Unlike you would have in a socket wrench. And flips around. Yeah, nice tool. Get yourself one of those. And they got a magnet on them too, so you can stick them anywhere. I always keep mine stuck over somewhere handy. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get finished pulling this thing apart. I don't know if this will pick up in the video, but you can still see what I believe are marks in the bearing from when they hand scraped this in, which is amazing, really. Let's see if I can if I can shoot inside. Seems to look pretty dirty in the video, but if you see the markings in here, yeah, I believe that's hand scraping right there. I may be incorrect, but in any case, the bearings are good and tight, and the spindle looks just about perfect. I have it over here wrapped up in a cloth, kept safe. So, alright, now it's time to get the back gear off. I just wanted to warn anybody that's messing around with this. I was just trying to knock this pin a little bit loose here. This is the pin which disengages and engages your back gear. And I just only gave it a couple of small raps with the aluminum hammer, very lightly, and immediately bing bing chipped this edge here. So that must be cast iron, or it's extremely hard. It did work. It's loose now. I you know, just worked a little bit of oil into it and it works like new almost. So, but yeah, I did want to warn you that that is a mistake that I made, and probably before I put the headstock back together, I'll take a little piece of bar stock and I'll machine a new pin. That looks like it's just a pretty simple part to do there. Okay. Okay, I just pulled the bed out of the dip and scrubbed it down with the wire brush and got it all cleaned up here. I think I'm going to flip it over and do this end for a couple more days because there's more of that gold, freaking gold paint left. I'm going to just take the rest of this last little bits off, probably be done by the end of the day. Yeah, I want to try and get this casting, all the castings just as clean as possible. I don't want any specks of paint on there, because when I paint this, I'm going to do it just in the way that they did it back during the war. I'm going to shoot it, and I'm not going to use any filler. That's just going to be how it is. First and foremost, I don't like to paint things. It's a pain in the butt. Very displeasurable for me, and I try to avoid it if I can, but you know, this lathe is so far gone, it really needs the paint, so. Alright, see you in the next clip. Well, here it is, back in the dip. And it's looking pretty good. I skimmed some of the crap off at the top there. I didn't go scrub the anodes. I probably should have pulled them and scrubbed them real quick. But, you know, as I said earlier, it's not really necessary. This isn't something that, you know, you really rush. I've ran anodes for, you know, months, and just having a constant stream of rusty tools going in that bucket, and it works fine. You know, they just build up and build up. It doesn't seem to really help it too much to speed things up. Like, you know, like I said, this is something you just set it in there and go ahead and forget about it. Don't rush things. You'll notice too that these will kind of start looking like the Titanic. If you just neglect to clean them, it'll grow like little rust sickles on it, you know, which is kind of interesting, you know. It's almost pretty in a way. Anyhow, there it is, and the next time I pull this out, it's going to be clean as a whistle. I'll get the last of that paint off. A little, you know, it's more inside the bed actually than on the outside. But I'll get the rest of that paint off of there. I haven't touched any of the other parts that have been sitting down inside there. I'm sure they're plenty done by now, but I don't want to mess with them until I get this bed out and get a place to start putting those parts back. So, because I've just got parts now just laying everywhere, and you know, I just I don't like that. I need to get them all back together as soon as I can so that nothing happens to get misplaced or knocked off a bench or something, you know. So, I still need to yank that back gear out of there, you know. It's smooth. I have no doubt that when I pull it apart, it's going to be clean inside. But I still want to get it off and clean these gears and everything, and then get the shims out of there. After that comes out, the headstock will go in the dip. Just the headstock casting, I think I'm gonna, and maybe the pulley there. But okay. Well, I got the back gear out now. There's some rusting on the shaft there, but that should clean up okay. That pin was not coming out. It moved about 1/16 of an inch and then stopped dead, and I could not get it to budge and ended up peening it by accident. So I had to drill that out, which I really didn't want to do, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes to get things apart. So I'll go ahead and replace that pin. or I'll put a screw in there, maybe, just to make it easier to get apart in the future if I need to, since I've already destroyed the pin. It's sitting over there. Yeah, that's what's left of it. So, alright. Well, the video is getting a little bit long, so I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for this edition. We've got our headstock apart now. We've still got the shims in here. I'm going to be sure that those are pulled out before this goes in the dip. I'll probably leave these screwed in there because they're kind of stuck in there. It's thin metal, and I don't want to break that off in there and have to go through a bunch of hassle to get the remnants of the Gitz cup out and then find a new Gitz cup somewhere. They're getting hard to find. Yeah, so, you know, in the next edition, we're gonna go ahead and we're probably gonna see some paint getting laid down on this, and it's gonna come out, and things are gonna start getting put back together, and it's gonna begin to look somewhat like a lathe again. So if you like these videos, please like them. If you have any questions or if you have something to say, by all means leave a comment. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. And thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful day.